Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, and a huge warm greeting to all the passionate collectors, treasure hunters, history lovers, and curious minds who are always excited to discover how ordinary pocket change can secretly turn into extraordinary wealth. Today we are diving deep into a fascinating and thrilling story that has captivated coin enthusiasts for decades. The legendary idea that a simple 1981-cent coin could be worth as much as $3 million, and while that number may sound unbelievable at first, by the time we reach the end of this journey you will clearly understand how rare errors, mysterious minting mistakes, unexpected metal anomalies, dramatic production flaws, and once-in-a-lifetime combinations of circumstances can elevate a humble copper coin into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. So sit back, imagine the clink of coins in your hand, and let your curiosity guide you as we explore how the 1980 Lincoln 1 cent could become one of the most valuable pennies ever known, starting with the historical background because context is everything when it comes to understanding coin value. The year 1980 was a unique transitional era for the United States Mint, as inflation pressures, rising copper prices, and evolving minting technology were already influencing decisions that would soon lead to the famous 1982 composition change from primarily copper to zinc-based cents, meaning that 1980 cents were struck during a time when metal costs were closely monitored. Production was extremely high, and the minting facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco were operating at immense speed, and whenever speed, volume, and cost pressures collide, the risk of minting errors rises dramatically, which opens the door to rare and valuable mistakes that collectors dream about. One of the most powerful value drivers for a 1981 cent is the possibility of a wrong planchet error, which occurs when a coin is struck on a blank intended for a different denomination or composition, and if a 1980 cent were struck on a foreign planchet, an experimental alloy, or even a leftover blank from another denomination, the result would be a coin that defies expectations in weight, color, thickness, and metallic response, and such coins, especially if authenticated, can command staggering prices because they represent something that was never supposed to exist. Adding to this is the potential for off-metal strikes, where the cent could have been struck on a planchet intended for a dime, a foreign coin, or a test alloy used during metallurgical experimentation, and if such an error were discovered today in pristine condition, with full documentation and professional grading, it could easily reach into the millions due to its extreme rarity and historical importance. Another massive factor that could push a 1980 cent toward a $3 million valuation is a dramatic double die error, which happens when the coin die itself receives a misaligned or repeated impression during its creation, causing design elements like the date, lettering, or Lincoln's profile to appear doubled, and while minor doubling is relatively common and often not valuable, a bold, dramatic, clearly visible double die affecting the obverse or reverse in an unprecedented way would instantly become legendary, especially if it impacted major design features like the date 1980, the word liberty, or I in God we trust, and if only one or two examples of such a double die were known, collectors would fiercely compete to own it, pushing the price higher and higher at auction, sometimes far beyond what logic alone would suggest, because rarity combined with visual impact creates emotional bidding wars. Yet another path to extreme value lies in the possibility of a mule error, which is one of the rarest and most fascinating mistakes in coin production. A mule occurs when two mismatched dies are paired together, such as an obverse from one year and a reverse from another, or a cent obverse combined with a die meant for a completely different coin, and if a 1980 Lincoln obverse were somehow struck with an incompatible or experimental reverse, it would instantly rewrite numismatic history, because such an error would indicate a catastrophic breakdown in minting controls. And documented mules from other years have already sold for hundreds of thousands or even millions, so a unique 1980 mule could easily cross the $3 million threshold. Then there is the realm of extreme off-center and broad strike errors, which occur when the planchet is improperly positioned during striking or when the retaining collar fails, allowing the metal to spread outward uncontrollably, and while many off-center strikes exist, the truly valuable ones are those that still retain a full date, clear mint mark if present, and strong design elements. And if a 1980 cent were struck dramatically off-center combined with another rare error, such as a double die or wrong planchet, the resulting coin would be a compound error of extraordinary significance, the kind that museums want and elite collectors dream of owning, and compound errors are especially valuable because they represent multiple failures happening simultaneously, which statistically is incredibly unlikely. Adding another layer of intrigue is the potential for transitional errors. Even though the official composition change occurred in 1982, experimental planchets and test alloys were sometimes produced and tested earlier, and if a 1980 cent were accidentally struck on an experimental zinc-based or alternative metal planchet not intended for circulation, it would be a groundbreaking discovery, especially if metallurgical testing confirmed its uniqueness, because transitional and experimental coins tell the hidden story of the mint's behind-the-scenes decision-making, making them historically priceless. Another often overlooked but incredibly powerful value factor is the condition of the coin, because a rare error in poor condition may be fascinating but a rare error in near-perfect or mint-state condition becomes exponentially more valuable, and if a 1980 cent with a spectacular error survived untouched, with original luster, sharp strike, and minimal contact marks, it could achieve the highest possible grading levels. And high-grade error coins are among the most sought-after items in all of numismatics, sometimes selling for 10 times more than similar errors in lower grades. Then there is the mystery of missing or malformed mint marks, particularly with the Denver Mint, which produced a vast number of cents in 1980, and if a genuine mint mark anomaly occurred due to a filled die, broken punch, or misapplied mint mark that resulted in an entirely new variety, collectors would be eager to study and acquire it, especially if it were unique or extremely rare. Adding to this is the possibility of a struck-through error, where foreign materials such as grease, cloth fibers, metal shavings, or other debris became trapped between the die and planchet during striking, and while minor struck-through errors are common, a dramatic struck-through that significantly altered Lincoln's portrait or the coin's inscriptions in a visually stunning way could become iconic, particularly if the foreign material left behind a clear impression that tells a story about the minting environment at the time. One cannot ignore the potential for die break and cut errors either, where parts of the die crack or break away entirely, leaving raised blobs or missing design areas on the coin, and a massive cut affecting a large portion of the design, especially if combined with other errors, could make a 1980 cent instantly recognizable and highly collectible. Then there is the realm of alignment errors, where the obverse and reverse are dramatically rotated or misaligned relative to each other, and while small rotations are often tolerated, an extreme rotation can greatly increase value, especially if it exceeds 90 or even 180 degrees, and if such an alignment error occurred alongside another major minting flaw, the value could skyrocket. Another fascinating possibility involves proof coins and special strikes, because although most 1980 cents were circulation strikes, special mint sets and proof-like examples also exist, and if a proof or special strike were mistakenly released into circulation or struck with a circulation die or vice versa, the resulting hybrid could become an ultra-rare anomaly, and collectors love anomalies that blur the line between proof and circulation issues, adding yet another path toward multi-million-dollar value. Beyond the physical errors themselves, provenance plays a massive role in value, because a coin with a documented history, such as being discovered in a sealed mint bag, an old estate, or a known hoard, carries an added layer of credibility and romance. And if a unique 1980 error cent were discovered under dramatic circumstances and carefully documented from the moment of discovery, its story alone could add hundreds of thousands or even millions to its value, because collectors are not just buying metal, they are buying history, mystery, and the thrill of owning something truly one of a kind. The auction environment also cannot be ignored, because record-breaking prices often occur when two or more wealthy collectors compete fiercely for a single item, and if a unique 1980 cent with unprecedented errors were offered at a major auction house with global publicity, it could attract international attention. Next, 2013 1-cent coin. Everyone, and a very warm welcome to all the coin lovers, collectors, investors, history fans, and curious viewers who enjoy discovering how everyday pocket change can secretly hold astonishing value. Today we are diving into a truly fascinating modern numismatic mystery, the idea that a simple 2013 1-cent coin, something many people have spent without a second thought, could actually be worth as much as $2 million because of rare errors, hidden mistakes, unusual minting circumstances, and extraordinary possibilities that transform an ordinary coin into a legendary treasure. And as we explore this story together from beginning to end, you will see how modern coins are not immune to incredible value and how the combination of technology, speed, human oversight, and chance can create coins that defy expectations. The year 2013 might seem recent compared to classic rare coins, but that is exactly what makes this story so exciting because modern errors are often overlooked, lost in circulation, or dismissed as impossible, yet the United States Mint in 2013 was producing billions of 1-cent coins at extremely high speeds, relying heavily on automated systems, modern presses, and quality control processes that, while advanced, are not flawless. And whenever production reaches such massive volumes, even the smallest malfunction or oversight can lead to dramatic and rare mistakes. One of the most significant factors that could push a 2013 1-cent toward a $2 million valuation is the presence of a wrong planchet error, which occurs when a coin is struck on a blank intended for a different denomination, composition, or even a foreign coin, and in 2013 the Mint was striking not only cents but also nickels, dimes, quarters, and dollar coins using different metal compositions. And if a cent blank somehow became mixed with blanks from another denomination or from an experimental or foreign batch, the resulting coin would immediately stand out due to differences in weight, thickness, color, and metallic properties, and such a mistake would represent a major breakdown in minting segregation, making it extremely rare, especially if only one or two examples exist. Another powerful possibility is an off-metal strike where the 2013 cent is struck on a planchet composed of a metal never intended for cents, such as a dime planchet, a foreign alloy, or a test composition used for metallurgical research, and if laboratory testing confirmed that the metal composition was entirely wrong for a cent, the coin would become a unique artifact of mint experimentation or error, drawing intense interest from collectors worldwide. Then there is the world of double die errors, which remain one of the most visually dramatic and emotionally exciting mistakes in coin collecting. A double die occurs during the creation of the coin die itself when the design is impressed more than once in misaligned positions, causing doubling that appears raised and clear on the finished coin. And while minor doubling is common and often mistaken for machine doubling, a true bold double die affecting major design elements such as the date 2013, the word Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or Lincoln's profile would instantly become one of the most important modern varieties ever discovered, especially if the doubling is strong, consistent, and visible without magnification, and if such a double die were unique or limited to only a handful of coins, its value could skyrocket into the millions as collectors compete to own a modern legend. Another extraordinary path to extreme value lies in mule errors, which are among the rarest and most mysterious mistakes in coin production. A mule occurs when two dies that were never intended to be paired together are accidentally used on the same coin, such as an obverse from one coin and a reverse from another denomination or design, and if a 2013 Lincoln cent obverse were struck with an incompatible reverse die, whether from a different year, denomination, or experimental design, it would instantly become one of the most important error coins of the modern era, because such an error suggests a profound failure in die handling and press setup, and documented mules from other years have already sold for staggering sums, making a unique 2013 mule a strong candidate for a $2 million valuation. Compound errors also play a massive role in pushing values to extreme levels, because while single errors are exciting, multiple errors occurring on the same coin are exponentially rarer, and if a 2013 cent displayed a combination such as a wrong planchet strike along with a double die, or an off-center strike combined with a die break or rotated die, the result would be a coin that represents multiple simultaneous failures, something that is statistically astonishing. And collectors place enormous value on compound errors because they are often visually dramatic and historically significant. Off-center strikes themselves can be incredibly valuable when they meet certain criteria, particularly when the date and mint mark remain fully visible, and if a 2013 cent were struck far off-center while still showing the complete date and strong design elements, it would already be desirable. But if that off-center strike were combined with another major error such as a wrong planchet or double die, the value could multiply rapidly. Another important factor involves broad strike errors, which occur when the retaining collar fails during striking, allowing the metal to spread outward beyond its intended boundaries. And while many broad strikes exist, a dramatic broad strike with unusual shape, thickness variation, or design distortion could become highly collectible, especially if paired with other anomalies. Then there is the intriguing possibility of transitional or experimental errors, even though the cent composition officially changed decades earlier. The Mint is constantly testing new alloys, coatings, and manufacturing techniques behind the scenes, and if a 2013 cent were accidentally struck on an experimental planchet or using an experimental coating not meant for circulation, it would represent a secret chapter of mint history, and such coins are incredibly rare because experimental materials are tightly controlled, making any accidental release into circulation a monumental discovery. Die break and cut errors also contribute to the realm of high-value possibilities. A die break occurs when the die develops cracks that transfer raised lines onto the coin, while a cut forms when a piece of the die breaks away entirely, leaving a raised blob of metal where the design should be, and a massive cut affecting a large portion of the coin, especially Lincoln's portrait or major lettering, could make a 2013 cent instantly recognizable and highly sought after, particularly if the cut is dramatic and well-defined. Alignment and rotation errors add another layer of intrigue, because when the obverse and reverse are not properly aligned, the result can be a coin where one side is rotated significantly relative to the other, and extreme rotations, especially those approaching or exceeding 180 degrees, are far rarer than minor misalignments, and such errors become even more valuable when combined with other minting mistakes. Another overlooked but important aspect is struck-through errors, which occur when foreign materials such as grease, cloth fibers, metal fragments, or debris become trapped between the die and planchet during striking, and while grease-filled dies are common, a dramatic struck-through error that creates a unique and visually striking impression on the coin can become highly collectible, especially if the nature of the foreign material can be identified and tells a story about the minting environment. Proof and special strike anomalies also open the door to extreme value, because the mint produces proof coins and special finishes using different dies, planchets, and handling procedures, and if a 2013 cent intended as a proof were struck with circulation dies or released into circulation accidentally, or if a circulation cent were struck with proof dies, the resulting hybrid could be extraordinarily rare, and collectors prize these cross-category errors because they blur the line between proof and business strikes. Condition plays an absolutely critical role in determining whether a coin reaches 6 figures or 7 figures, because rarity alone is not always enough, and a spectacular error preserved in pristine mint state condition with original luster, sharp details, and minimal contact marks can be worth many times more than the same error in circulated condition. And if a 2013 cent with an unprecedented error were discovered in near-perfect condition, perhaps pulled from a mint roll or saved immediately after striking, it could achieve top-tier grading and become the finest known example. Provenance also adds immense value, because a coin with a well-documented history of discovery, authentication, and ownership carries greater credibility and mystique, and if a unique 2013 error cent were discovered in a sealed mint bag, an original roll, or under well-documented circumstances and then authenticated by major grading services, its story alone could elevate its value significantly. Auction dynamics further amplify prices, because when a one-of-a-kind or finest-known coin appears at a major auction house, competitive bidding among wealthy collectors, investors, and institutions can drive prices far beyond initial estimates. Next, 2011 D1 cent coin, and a very warm welcome to all the coin collectors, treasure seekers, history enthusiasts, numismatic aficionados, and curious viewers who are fascinated by the idea that ordinary coins we use every day can sometimes hold extraordinary value. Today we are going to explore an absolutely incredible story about the 2011 D1 cent. A coin that at first glance seems like any other penny in your pocket, yet under the right circumstances and with the right errors and mistakes, it can reach an astonishing value of $1 million, and as we dive deep into the history, possibilities, and peculiarities of this modern coin, you will see why collectors, investors, and numismatic experts alike consider such errors to be among the most exciting and potentially lucrative finds in modern coin collecting. Starting with the historical and production context, because understanding the environment in which a coin was minted is crucial to understanding why it might be so valuable. The year 2011 was an era of high production and technological reliance at the United States Mint, particularly in Denver, where the D Mint mark denotes the Denver facility, and while the Mint employs modern machinery, sophisticated quality control, and automated die handling processes, the sheer volume of coins struck daily makes it inevitable that mistakes occur. And when errors happen in the production of 1-cent coins, even something as seemingly insignificant as a misplaced die or an unusual planchet can result in a coin worth hundreds of thousands or even millions, one of the most significant types of errors that can affect the value of a 2011 D cent is the wrong planchet error, which occurs when a coin is struck on a blank intended for a different denomination, composition, or even foreign coin, and in 2011 the mint was simultaneously producing pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, and dollar coins with differing metal compositions, and if a penny planchet were replaced with one designed for another denomination or made of a test alloy, the resulting coin would differ in weight, thickness, metal content, and sometimes even color, and such a coin would be incredibly rare and highly sought after because it represents a mistake that should never have been possible. Another significant factor that can dramatically increase a coin's value is a double die error, which occurs when the die itself is impressed twice with slight misalignment, causing certain design elements to appear doubled on the finished coin, and if the doubling is bold, clear, and occurs on critical areas such as the date 2011, the mint mark D, the word liberty, or in God we trust, it transforms the coin into a visually striking and historically significant collectible, and while minor doubling exists on many coins and is often ignored, a bold double die with strong visual impact and limited availability can create a demand among collectors that drives the price toward the $1 million mark. Yet another extraordinary type of error that can affect the value of a 2011 D penny is a mule error, which is one of the rarest and most fascinating mistakes in coin production. A mule occurs when two dies that were never intended to be paired together are used on the same coin, for example, an obverse die from a 2011 D penny struck with a reverse die from a different year, denomination, or experimental design, and if such a coin were to exist, it would immediately become a legend in the world of modern numismatics because it represents a significant and highly unusual die pairing, and historically, mule coins have sold for incredible amounts, often hundreds of thousands or millions depending on rarity and condition. Compound errors also play a huge role in value, because while a single error may be interesting, a coin that exhibits multiple errors at the same time becomes exponentially rarer and far more desirable. For instance, a 2011 D cent could exhibit a combination of a double die, off-center strike, wrong planchet, or die crack simultaneously, creating a coin that is not only visually dramatic but also statistically extraordinary. Collectors love such compound errors because they are essentially once-in-a-lifetime finds. Further adding to the intrigue are off-center strikes, which occur when a planchet is misfed into the press, resulting in a coin where the design is partially missing, and while small off-center strikes are relatively common, dramatic off-center strikes that retain the date and mint mark are exceedingly rare and valuable, and if a 2011 D cent were struck significantly off-center but still displayed clear major design elements, it would be highly prized and could reach values in the hundreds of thousands or even approach $1 million if compounded with another error such as a double die or wrong planchet. Broad strike errors, which happen when the retaining collar fails and the metal spreads outward beyond its normal boundary, are another exciting type of mistake that can contribute to extreme value, and if a 2011 D cent were both off-center and a broad strike, it would combine two visually stunning error types that collectors immediately recognize as extraordinary, and these types of compound visual anomalies are rare enough to dramatically increase market value. Transitional and experimental planchet errors are also significant, because the mint routinely tests new alloys, coatings, and methods in controlled experimental environments, and if a coin is accidentally struck on one of these experimental planchets and released into circulation, it represents a previously unseen variation, a coin that tells a hidden story about the mint's processes and technological experimentation, and coins with such provenance are highly prized due to their rarity and historical significance. Die break and cut errors are additional factors that collectors look for when valuing coins. A die break occurs when cracks form in the die, transferring raised lines onto the coin, while a cut occurs when a portion of the die breaks away entirely, leaving a raised blob where the design should be, and if a 2011 D cent exhibited a significant cut affecting Lincoln's portrait, lettering, or date, it would be immediately identifiable and highly collectible, particularly in combination with another major error such as a double die or wrong planchet. Alignment and rotation errors also contribute to value, as coins are intended to have obverse and reverse aligned properly, and extreme rotations, especially those approaching or exceeding 180 degrees, are far rarer than minor misalignments, and a 2011 D cent with an extreme rotational error combined with another major error type would be visually dramatic, historically important, and extremely rare, struck-through errors, which occur when debris or foreign material becomes trapped between the die and planchet during striking, can create fascinating textures and unusual impressions, and a dramatic struck-through error on a 2011 D penny could be highly desirable to collectors because of its visual uniqueness and the story it tells about the minting environment. Proof and special strike anomalies also offer the potential for extreme value, because proof coins and special strikes are produced using different dies and methods. And if a circulation strike were accidentally struck on a proof die, or a proof coin mistakenly received a circulation die, the resulting hybrid coin would be exceptionally rare, and collectors prize these cross-category errors, especially when combined with condition and provenance factors. Speaking of condition, this is perhaps one of the most critical factors in determining whether a coin reaches extreme value, because even rare errors in poor condition are interesting, but a coin with exceptional preservation, full original luster, sharp strike, and minimal handling marks can exponentially increase in value. And if a 2011 D cent with a dramatic error were found in near-perfect condition, it could easily be graded at the highest levels and achieve collector attention that drives its price toward the $1 million mark. Provenance and documented history also amplify value, because coins discovered in sealed mint bags, original rolls, or with a known chain of ownership carry added credibility and allure. And a 2011 D cent with a well-documented discovery story and authentication history can command significant premiums, particularly if it is a unique or finest known example. Auction dynamics play a major role as well, because when such a coin appears at a major auction house, competitive bidding between wealthy collectors, institutions, and investors can rapidly escalate the price, sometimes far beyond initial expectations, especially for a coin that is one of a kind or the finest known example. Psychological factors also contribute to extreme value, because the idea that a modern coin, something still found in circulation, could be worth $1 million captures the imagination and fascination of collectors, and it is this combination of rarity, visual impact, historical significance, pristine condition, provenance, and intense collector competition that can make the concept of a 2011 D 1 cent costing $1 million entirely plausible. In summary, while most people see a 2011 D penny as just a piece of metal worth a cent, within the world of numismatics, even a modern coin can hide incredible secrets, dramatic errors. Next, 1985 D 1 cent coin. Everyone, and a very warm welcome to all coin collectors, treasure hunters, history enthusiasts, numismatists, and curious viewers who are fascinated by the idea that ordinary coins, which we often overlook or spend without a second thought, can sometimes hold unimaginable value. Today we are exploring one of the most legendary stories in modern coin collecting. The story of the 1985 D 1 cent, a coin that at first glance seems like any other penny in circulation. Yet under the right conditions, with the right errors, mistakes, and unique characteristics, it can be worth an astonishing $7 million, and as we dive deep into the details of this coin, from the history and production context to the rare errors and possibilities that make it so valuable, you will understand why collectors and investors alike are willing to pay extraordinary sums for such a coin. Starting with the historical context, because context is everything when it comes to coin valuation. The year 1985 was a period of high production for the United States Mint, particularly at the Denver facility where the D Mint mark indicates it was struck, and during this time, the Mint was producing billions of 1-cent coins each year, using a combination of high-speed presses, automated die handling, and strict quality control. Yet even with advanced machinery and sophisticated processes, the sheer volume of coins produced made it inevitable that errors would occur, and it is precisely these errors, when rare and dramatic, that can transform an ordinary penny into a multimillion-dollar treasure. One of the most significant factors that can push a 1985 D cent into the $7 million range is a wrong planchet error, which occurs when a coin is struck on a blank intended for a different denomination, composition, or even foreign coin. And in 1985 the Mint was producing not only pennies but also nickels, dimes, quarters, and dollar coins with differing metal compositions, and if a penny planchet were accidentally replaced with a blank intended for another denomination or composed of an experimental or foreign alloy, the resulting coin would differ in weight, thickness, color, and metallic response, and such a mistake would be extremely rare and highly desirable because it represents a coin that should never have existed. Another major factor is off-metal strikes, where a 1985 D cent might have been struck on a planchet composed of a material not intended for pennies, such as a dime planchet, a foreign coin blank, or a test alloy, and if metallurgical testing confirmed the composition was entirely inconsistent with standard cents, the coin would immediately become a unique artifact of mint experimentation, increasing its value exponentially due to rarity and historical significance. Yet another extraordinary value driver is a double die error, which occurs when the die itself is impressed more than once in slightly misaligned positions, causing design elements on the coin to appear doubled, and if the doubling is bold and prominent on critical areas such as the date 1985, the mint mark D, the word Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or Lincoln's profile, it transforms the coin into a visually striking and historically significant collectible, because collectors prize bold double dies that are clear to the naked eye, and limited availability creates fierce competition at auction, raising prices dramatically. Mule errors also play a huge role in extreme value, because a mule occurs when dies that were never intended to be paired together are accidentally used on the same coin, such as pairing an obverse from a 1985 D penny with a reverse from a different year, denomination, or experimental design, and if such a mule were discovered, it would instantly become one of the most significant and valuable modern error coins, because it represents a rare die pairing that defies standard minting procedures, and documented mules from other years have achieved record-breaking auction prices, suggesting that a 1985 D mule could easily reach the multi-million-dollar range. Compound errors are another critical factor, because while single errors are interesting, coins that exhibit multiple errors simultaneously are exponentially rarer and more desirable. For example, a 1985 D cent displaying a combination of a wrong planchet, double die, off-center strike, or die break would be a coin that is both visually dramatic and statistically extraordinary, and collectors prize such coins as once-in-a-lifetime finds. Off-center strikes themselves can be extremely valuable, particularly when the coin retains its date and mint mark, and a 1985 D cent struck significantly off-center but still displaying all key design elements would be highly sought after, with value increasing further if combined with other major errors such as a double die or wrong planchet. Broad strike errors also enhance value, occurring when the retaining collar fails and the metal spreads outward beyond the intended boundaries, and a 1985 D cent exhibiting both an off-center strike and a broad strike would combine two visually dramatic error types, making it an extraordinary collectible that draws immediate attention from serious collectors. Transitional and experimental planchet errors also contribute significantly to potential value, as the mint routinely tested new alloys, coatings, and manufacturing techniques in experimental environments, and if a coin were accidentally struck on one of these experimental planchets and released into circulation, it would represent a previously unseen variation and a unique chapter of mint history, which is highly prized for its rarity and historical significance. Die breaks and cut errors are additional critical factors, as die breaks occur when cracks form in the die and transfer raised lines onto the coin, while cuts form when a portion of the die breaks away entirely, leaving a raised blob in the design area. And a 1985 D cent with a significant cut affecting Lincoln's portrait, lettering, or date would be instantly recognizable and highly collectible, particularly in combination with other major errors such as a double die or wrong planchet. Alignment and rotation errors further contribute to extreme value, as coins are intended to have proper obverse and reverse alignment. And extreme rotational errors, especially those approaching or exceeding 180 degrees, are exceptionally rare, and a 1985 D cent with both an extreme rotational error and another major error type would be visually dramatic, historically significant, and extremely rare. Struck-through errors, occurring when debris or foreign material becomes trapped between the die and planchet during striking, can create fascinating textures and unusual impressions, and a dramatic struck-through error on a 1985 D penny would be highly desirable because of its visual uniqueness and the story it tells. About the minting environment, proof and special strike anomalies also add immense value, because proof coins and special strikes are produced with different dies, planchets, and handling procedures, and if a circulation strike were accidentally struck on a proof die, or a proof coin mistakenly received a circulation die, the resulting hybrid would be exceptionally rare, and collectors prize these cross-category errors, particularly when condition, provenance, and visual impact are strong. Speaking of condition, this is perhaps one of the most critical factors in determining whether a coin reaches seven-figure value, as even rare errors in poor condition are interesting, but a coin with exceptional preservation, full original luster, sharp strike, and minimal handling marks can exponentially increase in value, and if a 1985 D cent with a dramatic error were discovered in near-perfect condition, it could easily be graded at the highest levels and command attention from top collectors. Provenance and documented history also amplify value, because coins discovered in sealed mint bags, original rolls, or with known chains of ownership carry added credibility and allure, and a 1985 D cent with a well-documented discovery story and authentication history can command significant premiums, particularly if it is unique or the finest known example. Auction dynamics also play a major role, because when such a coin appears at a major auction house, competitive bidding among wealthy collectors, institutions, and investors can escalate the price rapidly, sometimes far beyond initial estimates, especially for a coin that is one of a kind or finest known. Psychological factors cannot be ignored, because the idea that an ordinary penny from 1985, something that seems ubiquitous, could be worth $7 million captures the imagination and excitement of collectors, and it is the combination of rarity, dramatic visual impact, historical significance, pristine condition, documented provenance, and intense collector competition that makes the concept of a 1985 D 1 cent costing $7 million entirely plausible. In essence, while most people see a 1985 D penny as just a small piece of copper in their pocket, within the world of numismatics even modern coins can hide extraordinary secrets, rare errors, and once-in-a-lifetime possibilities that elevate them from ordinary currency to legendary collectibles. So the next time you come across a 1985 D penny, remember that it might not just be spare change, it could be the key to uncovering a $7 million treasure, because with wrong planchets, double dies, mule errors, off-center and broad strike. Last 1999 D 1 cent coin, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all coin collectors, treasure hunters, history enthusiasts, numismatists, and curious viewers who are fascinated by the idea that ordinary coins, which we often overlook or spend without a second thought, can sometimes hold unimaginable value. Today we are diving into an absolutely fascinating and remarkable story about the 1999 D 1 cent, a coin that on the surface may appear like any ordinary penny from the late 1990s, yet under the right circumstances, with the right errors, mistakes, and rare anomalies, it can reach an astonishing value of $8 million, and as we explore this story in depth, from the historical and production context to the detailed errors, mistakes, and extraordinary possibilities that make this coin so valuable, you will see why collectors, investors, and numismatic experts alike view certain modern coins as capable of delivering life-changing value, beginning with the historical context. Because understanding the era and environment in which a coin was minted is critical to understanding why it might become so extraordinarily valuable. The year 1999 was a period of intense production for the United States Mint, particularly at the Denver facility, which is indicated by the D Mint mark, and during this time, the Mint was producing billions of 1-cent coins for circulation, using high-speed presses, advanced automation, and modern quality control measures designed to ensure consistent output. Yet even with these technologies and meticulous processes, the massive volume of coins produced daily inevitably resulted in mistakes and errors, and it is precisely these mistakes, when rare and dramatic, that have the potential to transform an ordinary penny into an unprecedented numismatic treasure. One of the most significant factors that can elevate a 1999 D penny to a value of $8 million is a wrong planchet error, which occurs when a coin is struck on a blank intended for a different denomination, composition, or even a foreign coin, and in 1999 the Mint was producing not only pennies but also nickels, dimes, quarters, and dollar coins, each with different compositions, and if a penny planchet were mistakenly replaced with a blank designed for another denomination or made from a test alloy, the resulting coin would have noticeable differences in weight, thickness, metallic composition, and sometimes even color, and such a coin would be incredibly rare and highly sought after because it represents something that was never supposed to exist. Another powerful factor contributing to extreme value is an off-metal strike, which occurs when a coin is struck on a planchet composed of a material not intended for that denomination, such as a dime planchet, foreign alloy, or experimental material used for metallurgical testing, and if such a 1999 D cent were authenticated and confirmed to have an off-metal composition, it would immediately become a one-of-a-kind artifact of mint experimentation, attracting collectors from around the world due to its rarity and historical significance. Yet another extraordinary value driver is a double die error, which occurs when the die itself is impressed more than once in a misaligned position, causing the design elements on the coin to appear doubled, and if the doubling is bold, prominent, and affects key areas such as the date 1999, the mint mark D, the word Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or Lincoln's portrait, it transforms the coin into a visually dramatic and historically significant collectible, because collectors prize bold doubled dies that are clear to the naked eye, and limited availability ensures that demand at auction is fierce, pushing the value higher and higher. Mule errors are another rare and highly desirable type of mistake that can drastically increase a coin's value, because a mule occurs when two dies that were never intended to be paired together are used on the same coin, such as pairing an obverse die from a 1999 D penny with a reverse die from a different year, denomination, or experimental design, and if such a mule were discovered, it would immediately become one of the most legendary and valuable modern era coins, as it represents a profound and highly unusual die pairing, and historically, mule coins from other years have sold for staggering sums, sometimes reaching millions, suggesting that a unique 1999 D mule could easily command a price of $8 million or more. Compound errors also play a critical role in extreme value, because while a single error may be valuable, coins that display multiple errors simultaneously are exponentially rarer and more desirable. For instance, a 1999 D cent exhibiting a combination of a wrong planchet, doubled die, off-center strike, and die break would be a coin of tremendous rarity, visually stunning and historically significant, and collectors prize such coins as once-in-a-lifetime finds. Off-center strikes themselves are a major factor in determining value, especially when the coin retains its date and mint mark, and a 1999 D penny struck dramatically off-center but still showing all key design elements would already be highly collectible, yet its value would increase further if combined with another significant error, such as a double die or wrong planchet, broad strike errors, which occur when the retaining collar fails and the metal spreads beyond the intended boundaries, are another exciting type of mistake that can elevate a coin's value, and a 1999 D penny exhibiting both an off-center strike and broad strike would combine two visually dramatic errors, making it an extraordinary collectible highly sought after by serious collectors. Transitional and experimental planchet errors are also very important to extreme value, because the mint routinely tests new alloys, coatings, and minting methods in experimental environments, and if a coin is accidentally struck on one of these experimental planchets and released into circulation, it represents a unique variation and previously unseen chapter of mint history, which is highly prized due to its rarity and historical significance. Die break and cut errors also play a critical role, as die breaks occur when cracks develop in the die, transferring raised lines onto the coin, while cuts occur when a portion of the die breaks away entirely, leaving a raised blob in the design area, and a 1999 D penny with a significant cut affecting Lincoln's portrait, lettering, or the date would be instantly identifiable and highly desirable, particularly when combined with other major errors such as a double die or wrong planchet. Alignment and rotation errors also enhance value, because coins are intended to have proper obverse and reverse alignment, and extreme rotational errors, especially those approaching or exceeding 180 degrees, are extremely rare, and a 1999 D penny displaying both an extreme rotational error and another major error type would be visually dramatic, historically important, and extremely rare. Struck-through errors, which occur when debris, grease, cloth fibers, or metal fragments become trapped between the die and planchet during striking, can create fascinating textures and unusual impressions, and a dramatic struck-through error on a 1999 D cent would be highly desirable due to its visual uniqueness and the story it tells about the minting process. Proof and special strike anomalies further add to the coin's potential value, because proof coins and special strikes are produced using different dies, planchets, and handling procedures, and if a circulation strike were accidentally struck on a proof die or vice versa, the resulting hybrid would be exceptionally rare, and collectors prize these cross-category errors, especially when condition, provenance, and visual impact are strong. Speaking of condition, this is one of the most critical factors in determining whether a coin reaches a seven-figure valuation, because even rare errors in poor condition are interesting, but a coin with exceptional preservation, full original luster, sharp details, and minimal handling marks can exponentially increase in value, and if a 1999 D penny with a dramatic error were discovered in near-perfect condition, it could easily achieve top-tier grading and command attention from elite collectors. Provenance and documented history also dramatically increase value, as coins discovered in sealed mint bags, original rolls, or with a known chain of ownership carry extra credibility and allure, and a 1999 D penny with a documented discovery and authentication history can command significant premiums, particularly if it is unique or the finest known example. Auction dynamics are equally important, because when such a coin appears at a major auction house, competitive bidding among wealthy collectors, investors, and institutions can escalate the price rapidly, sometimes far beyond initial expectations, particularly for a coin that is one of a kind or finest known. Psychological factors also play a powerful role, because the idea that a seemingly ordinary penny from 1999 could be worth $8 million captures the imagination, excitement, and passion of collectors, and it is this combination of rarity, dramatic visual impact, historical significance, pristine condition, documented provenance, and intense collector competition that makes the concept of a 1999 D1 cent costing $8 million entirely plausible. In essence, while most people view a 1999 D penny as just a small piece of metal in circulation,